Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and it's time for more Scuttlebutt. This week's game in the background is brought to you by Tier 9 Italian cruiser Brindisi. Brindisi is, of course, still in testing, not quite available, expected to release in the next patch with the rest of the Italian cruiser line. And this is a pretty good game I had in this ship randomly one day on loop. You're going to see some big SAP hits here on some battleships, and basically I just make a general nuisance of myself. I had a lot of fun playing this ship this game, so enjoy. She's definitely an upgrade over Amalfi in terms of firepower. That extra turret is notable, and you'll see that over the course of the match. So what is up with shooty boats? Well, I have to start off by talking about the last weekend, right? Last Saturday, of course, was Anchors Away USS Texas. That's the first of the Anchors Away tour events that I was able to attend. It was a blast. Fabulous to just meet people, hang out, spend the day wandering the ship. Weather started off kind of gray and ooky and chilly, but eventually by around midday, clouds had burned off, the sun had come out, and it was an absolutely gorgeous fall day to spend aboard USS Texas. Lots and lots of highlighted, great moments. One that I'm going to mention here, I've mentioned on Twitter. I'm working on a video to cover off kind of the event, but we got to meet Bruce Bramlett, he's the executive director of the Battleship Texas Foundation. And there's been a tremendous amount of misinformation and speculation and outright garbage in the media and in just people like, oh my lord, they can't move the ship, they'll sink her, all this kind of crap. And Bruce was there, and we got to spend probably 35 or 40 minutes talking to him, asking questions. He was just hanging out on the mid deck by turret number 3 as we came back on the ship after lunch, and I filled in for a little bit. You'll see some of that in the video I'm putting together, but just answered questions. And what I loved about him was that he is so enthusiastic. He's so excited about the future of Battleship Texas, and he basically said he was recounting the tale of earlier this year when they were working through the state legislature to get the funding, and he was up in Austin up at the state capitol with the chairman of the board of the Battleship Texas Foundation. It was him and the chairman, and they had been in this meeting in whatever state center they were working with, and of course he knew the name. I can't remember. They basically were talking with the committee, the appropriations committee, about how much money they were going to need and all this sort of thing. And basically, they said, "All right, guys, so we're going to get you the money, but here's the deal: you can't take it back to San Jacinto." And he said, "I was a little surprised to hear them say that." He said, "But I knew in that moment that we had won the fight to save the ship, because ultimately it will end up somewhere else where it has a far better chance to become self-sustaining financially than where it is now." And so that was just one of several great stories he told about the whole process. He talked about his fundraising efforts. Just a fabulous guy to talk to. If you ever get the chance to meet him or spend any time talking to him, his enthusiasm for the ship, for her history, for her crew and the descendants of the crew is absolutely infectious. And man, I'm jazzed. Like, I'm excited to see what happens with this ship once she goes away to dry dock. They fix her up and comes back. I did ask him the concern that I always had, that I continue to have kind of as a project manager, and I look at how the schedules line up. I said, "Bruce, what happens if you guys, the ship is ready in dry dock and you don't have your agreements in place, you don't have a permanent home for her yet? What happens then?" He said, "Yeah, that's kind of one of the concerns that I have right now." He says, "We've got a couple of contingencies that we're working on, some ideas, and so we're thinking along those lines as well." But he's got several different communities along the Texas coast that he's working with, and the message that he kept iterating over and over was, if you don't hear it out of our mouths, it's probably garbage. Because there's just all kinds of misinformation out there. No, the ship's not going to sink. No, the harbor pilots haven't refused to move her because they think she'll sink in the ship channel. Blah 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 blah. That's all garbage, right? Anyway, I could go on and on about that, and I'll do some more of that in the video about the event. But meeting Bruce Bramlett was one of the highlights of the event. Meeting the players, of course, is always a blast. I got to meet Arlios, a fellow CC, flew in from Vancouver. I'll put a link to his channel down below. If you haven't checked out some of his videos, he puts on great funtage videos. Definitely go throw him a subscribe. But it was nice to meet him. I definitely traveled the farthest, although we had lots of folks from Texas, a few down from Oklahoma, some folks from the central part of this country, Iowa and Missouri, which I was like, wow, you came from Iowa? Just flabbergasted. Wargaming, of course, as hospitable as always, putting on a great event, giving out lots of good loot. I got to hide. They had the little plastic cards, right, with ship codes that they do like a scavenger hunt on the ship, right? So as we were setting up that morning, I got handed a few of those. I got to go kind of hide those around the ship. I had a lot of fun with it. So great event, guys. Great event. Just I cannot say enough times, if you get the chance to go to an Anchors Away, just go. Don't hesitate. Just go. The next event will be in a few more weeks here in Long Beach, California, USS Iowa. Coming up again in mid-December at USS Lexington down in Corpus Christi. I'm planning on attending that event because it's not too far away. In January, they're going to USS Hornet in San Francisco. And in February, the last scheduled stop that's currently announced is USS Kidd in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I am absolutely planning on making plans to attend that event as well, just because I've never been to USS Kidd, and I'm a huge American destroyer, a Fletcher class fanboy. How have I never been to this ship? It's a travesty, so I'm going. It also just so happens that weekend in Baton Rouge is the second weekend of Mardi Gras. So if you're looking for a fun time, it doesn't get much better than Mardi Gras in Louisiana. Take it from a coon ass. Trust me on this. Anyways, enough about that. What else has been going on in boats? I didn't get the chance to talk about this because, of course, we wrapped up I haven't done one of these since we wrapped up King of the Sea, but of course, we did conclude King of the Sea 9 here on North America a couple of weekends ago now. Went up to Austin and live cast that with Lord Zath. 07, Devastating Strike, managing to recapture their crown and become Kings of the Sea on NA once again. And then, of course, the big event on Sunday was the cross server event, which the NA teams absolutely crushed the EU teams 7-2 in a round robin competition, which was glorious to see. I had a guy in my chat last week on Twitch basically coming in and telling me he had gotten banned from, I think it was Flambass's channel, for going in and talking smack to the EU guys after the cross server event. And I kind of got on him a little bit, not like ragging on him, but man, let's just not do that. We're better than that, right? We've put up with a lot from the EU server over the years. A lot of the EU guys talk down to the NA competitive scene like we're inferior. And I feel like over the last couple of Kings of the Sea that we've proven that is a misnomer, and that we're just as competitive and we're just as good on the big stage as they are. So to me, the games the teams that have played those games have demonstrated the skill of the server. We don't need to say anything, right? So, anyways, I'll put a clip down below. I had a little kind of, I don't call it a rant, but a little please be kind. We're all part of the same community kind of thing. And the smack talk doesn't really benefit anybody, especially now that the results are in. Smack talking before the event, yeah, sure, have fun with it. But after the event's over, man, it's on the field. The results are there, everybody to see. You don't need to smack talk anymore. We won. So, but yeah, King of the Sea 9 is wrapped up, and that was a blast. So, looking forward to King of the Sea 10 in the spring. I am going to be stepping down out of the admin, kind of the admin side of the house here on NA. I'm going to be pulling back to more of what we call the operations group. I'm going to be more focusing in on the streaming aspects, kind of stream coordinating, filling slots, getting the overlays done, that kind of thing, right? Not doing the work, but just making sure that the overlays are ready to go and coordinating with the guys that work on them for us and ensuring that all this stuff's put together. Stats Bloke did a lot of that on the EU this time. I feel like we need to be doing more of that on the NA. I'm also going to try and kind of proactively seek out some Spanish and some Portuguese casters. We're starting to get a lot more Spanish and Portuguese, South American, Latin American teams that come play in the event, and I feel like we owe it to those guys to be looking for opportunities and players that want to get into the casting game, so they can watch some of their teams in their own language. What else is going on? Devblog's been pretty quiet. They did announce a few things during the King of the Sea 9 broadcast. I got to go back up here and look at this. Of course, they announced a couple of premium ships here. A Tier 8 British cruiser. This is Cheshire, a variant of HMS Bedford. Her main battery is really strange. She's got 6 234mm guns, which I think is very odd. I wasn't aware that the British had ever experimented with this caliber, but obviously these plans exist somewhere, so I'll have to learn a little more about that. Kind of interesting. They also announced yet another Tier 8 Soviet battleship. This is Borodino. Kind of looks like she might be like a pre-Sovietsky Soyuz. I don't really know exactly where they're going with this design, but that's out there as well. They also announced that they're testing a new 1v1 ranked sprint season. But as I understand it from following from some of the questions that have been asked later, there aren't any class restrictions on this, which just feels really bizarre, right? Like, I just feel like 1v1 with no class restrictions is going to end really, really badly. It feels like the match is going to be lost when you push the battle button based on what class you pick, you know? They always said the game is rock, paper, scissors. You know, that's their design basis, is rock, paper, scissors. So what happens when you load into a game with your counter? I guess you just wasted your time. I don't understand the thinking here, but we'll see. Anyhow, they've also announced some kind of new ship construction via shipyards thing should be coming towards the first of the year. They haven't really explained kind of what the rewards are going to be or how all that's going to look, but there's a screenshot in here. I'll link the devlog down below. Looks kind of interesting. They also clarified that right now overlapping AA isn't working quite the way they said it was. Apparently, along the way, some of the changes that have come about to the various AA changes, they managed to break the system whereby where ships had overlapping AA bubbles while you were in like you flew a squadron through those areas where the AA bubbles overlapped, you took a reduced amount of damage. Apparently, that's been broken for a couple of patches, and nobody really noticed. Anyways, they've said for the moment they're kind of happy with where this is actually, so they're going to leave it alone. We'll see. I'm kind of confused as to exactly what's going on there, but for the moment, it is what it is. Yeah, so again, Top Devlog's been pretty quiet. Not much else going on. Of course, clan battles have started here on NA. I haven't had a chance to stop and play. I have tried a little bit of the new scenarios. We've got the Halloween scenarios, of course, are active. We've got test boats to play. I'll be messing around with that stuff on Twitch. Been putting some time in Puerto Rico and Venezia, and of course Brindisi here. We also have I'm missing something. Oh, we have all the low tier Italian cruisers, which are terrible. Oh my gosh, the low tier SAP shells are just awful. I honestly don't know how they can salvage these ships. I really don't. Other than just bringing their reloads down to something reasonable, I just don't know how they're going to do it. So we're going to have to see how it goes. Anyways, guys, that's kind of it. Pretty low-key week. King of the Sea's over, did the Texas thing, and getting on with life. I did get a partner app in for Twitch this week, which is pretty exciting for me, but that doesn't really impact King of the Sea very much. I mean, World of Warships very much. But yeah, I am back home now, so I'm going to be trying to work back onto a more regular production schedule for videos and streaming and everything, and probably rejiggering my desk setup now that I'm into this thing. Because when I moved south, down to Corpus, I wasn't, so I gotta spend some time reorganizing myself here. Anyways, guys, appreciate your time. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for all the support. You guys that I met at USS Texas, thanks for watching. Everybody else, appreciate it, and be safe out there. I'll catch you next time.